28 minutes on to 7 o'clock. Good morning to you, Grenada, Carrier, Kupiti, Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, the rest of the world. Thank him. Yulin, good morning to you. How you doing? Thank him in advance, Yulin. Thank him for the vacation you're coming. Jelly and McIntyre, good morning. Catherine Phillip, good morning. Mary Ebanks, good morning. Veronica Sandy is in the building, good morning. Let's give him a big thank you this morning for life. Even if it's only that, just for life, the fact that you woke up this morning, it's more than enough to thank him for that. Your cupboard is empty.
Thank you for the money. Wait until you get plenty. Thank you for your life, cause you're living, walking and healthy. Thank you in advance.
Thank you in advance.
Thank you for your healing. The things you revealing. Thank you for the degree. Day and night you study. Thank you in advance.
Good morning to the world.
Thank you in advance.
You've already provided it. It's somewhere. It's coming. It's coming. That thing that you've been praying for. Don't give up the hope, all right? It's coming. Trust me on that. Mark my words on that at 26 minutes on to 7 o'clock. Be thankful. Be thankful. Today's going to be a good day. It's going to be an awesome day. What do you say about that, eh? Don't you agree with that? Yeah, I believe that. The things that people say, that's not, it's unimportant. Nice. Today is gonna be awesome. Scream it out at the top of your lungs, man. Tanti Marcy, Keisha, Khalid, the folks at Care Bears, good morning. Sylvina Charles, good morning. Yeah, keep on thanking him. Thank him for the things that you haven't gotten as yet. Yeah, that's what faith is, the evidence of things not seen. Yeah. Nice. Be thankful, be thankful. You woke up this morning, you could have gotten out of bed and go to the washroom and fix up yourself. And then you start wondering what I'm giving the children to go to school. Well, stop wondering. You wake up already. That's the first thing you have to be thankful for, yeah? I love you. What do you say for that? Nice. Thank him. My buddies Eggies and Cruz, good morning. Judge. Curtis, Peck, Philip, and family out there in Operator. Good morning to the whole of Operator. Good morning.
Thank him in advance.
Darana, good morning. Mr. Michael Pierre, good morning to you. And I'm not talking about the, the former speaker of the house, not you yet. But good morning to you now too, right? You and the family. And then I'm looking next door and saying good morning to Sylvie and Hicklin Nayak. Good morning, the folks at Blueberry Hill. I want to reach out to the folks inside of Kadrona Home. Good morning, Kadrona Home, the matron, the staff, the residents there. Good morning to you all. Good morning to former parliamentarian Alan Walker. Yeah, good morning to you, bro. How you doing? Long time no see, man. Yeah, hope all is well. Now, I want to say good morning to some special people. I can't remember the name of that alley, right? But it's right coming down that hill, coming down to Kim George and Associates right here on, that's H.A. Blair Street. Good morning to you. You know who you are, right? Good morning, good morning. She said, we're listening to you too. Good morning to you. I had to remember the name, but I'm getting aged, so I can't remember all the names. Yeah, it's 23 minutes until 7 o'clock on this good-looking Wednesday morning. I just have a feeling that something good is going to happen today. It's already started. I woke up this morning, not many aches and pains, And even if there's a little ache and pain, that shows that I'm alive, isn't it? Yeah. Dead people don't feel. Yeah. Good morning to Mr. Wayne Hotwax Archibald and family. Betty and Court, good morning to you. Nice. Okay, now let me just share some information for those of you who participated in the Hills and Valley Health Quiz throughout the week, right? The weeks that pass. What is happening is that Hills and Valley, they send the health tips, the questions, and we submit the winners to them. So what is going to happen is those of you who have not received your prize as yet, Joseph promised, that's Joseph Cado, he promised that he will follow up with Hills and Valley today, all right? So those of you who are still waiting on your prize, yeah, it's forthcoming. Good morning to Mr. McMeo and the folks at Hills and Valley Pharmacy, all the staff members. Good morning, good morning. It's now time for the word of the day. That word today is a verb, it is an action word, and that word is belie. 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 B-E-L-I-E. Now, to belie something is to give a false idea or impression of it. Belie can also mean to show something to be false or wrong. Yeah? Belie. Nice. Good morning to one of the hardest working inspectors of police, Mr. Leon McQueen. Inspector Leon McQueen, good morning to you and the family, boy. How do you do? Nurse Victor next door, good morning. I hope I have the name right. I'm not remembering names. You and the family, good morning. Good morning to the folks on the Moai. Good morning. Nutsman, good morning to you, bro. The Joseph family right next door, good morning. Bernard and what's her name again? Aranda. Yeah, good morning to you and the girls. Good morning to Princess downstairs and Mommy. Good morning, AJ and Toya and everybody. The Taylor family, good morning. You think it's easy to take it easy, Ras? All right, here's how we can use that word belie in a sentence. Martin's easy banter and relaxed attitude belied his nervousness. We can also say their actions belie their claim of innocence. Yeah, you have this guy that always calling and saying, you think you're innocent, well, boy? Even babies, when they're born, born in sin, shaped in iniquity, yeah? Nice. Good. The folks inside of Cafe, good morning, good morning. That's your time. Kitty Cat, Ariel, and Alwyn, good morning. Good morning to the whole of, as a matter of fact, good morning, St. David. Pedmota, good morning. Windsor Forest. Yeah, good morning. The thought of the day. Nadisha, good morning. Don't let yesterday take up too much of today. You understand? Yesterday is gone. Yesterday is gone. You know that song? Yeah. Tomorrow hasn't arrived as yet. What we have is today, okay? So let not tomorrow, not today, take up, or yesterday rather, take up too much of today. Focus on today. Deal with today. All right, JJ and Sylvie and Daphne, good morning to you all. Nine, good morning. Hope you're behaving a good girl. Nice. So that was the thought of the day. What's buzzing this morning? Well, boy, yesterday, the two suspects, the accused, that were arrested and charged for that May 12th murder in St. George. Well, they were brought to court yesterday, and I have not seen that measure of security whenever, suspects are brought into the court, man. It was White House-style security, man. Razim Mitchell, a 33-year-old businessman of Coffee Hill in St. George, and Marcus Johnson, 40-year-old of Grenada. They were charged, they made their first court appearance yesterday, and oh my goodness. The surroundings of the court was as safe as Selassie I briefcase, man. Yeah, wow. What else is buzzing this morning? Let's see what's making the news this morning. What's making the rounds? Well, police operations result in the discovery of firearms and ammunition and the arrest and charges against one Vincentian and two Grenadians. The police officers, they on the roll, right? Yeah, good morning to Sergeant Prince. Michael Prince, how you doing, bro? In the region, we hear that Kenyan special forces arrived in Haiti to help combat gang violence. Also, the Haitian one of the international airports in Haiti was opened recently after 3 months of being shut down because of gang violence. Internationally, gunmen killed dozens in a raid in a Nigerian mining community. And in sports, Exterminators netball tournament concluded with a victory for St. Joseph's Convent A-team and Bulldogs. Yeah, those are the buzzing stories at the moment. And, we have the AM edition of News, Sports, and the Weather coming up. Who's here? Lana Fletcher says good morning. Morning, Lana. Marian Williams, good morning. Hillary J. Harris, good morning, Mr. Joseph. Hi, Hillary. How you doing? Good morning, Valerie Farray. How you doing this morning? Any pea soup coming up? Somebody said don't call the name, so I ain't calling it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nice. Rosanna Nichols, good morning, Mr. Gordon. Have a blessed day. Same to you, Rosanna. Anika Reese, good morning. Betty and Court says good morning. Blessings. All right. Joyous James says good morning. All right. Nice. Michelle Abraham, good morning. Eric Joseph, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. My favorite lady boy, Mildred Smith. How are you doing this morning, Mildred? Yeah, we had to go to church, right? Okay, that one. Okay, right. Good morning. The name of the street is Bain Ali. Yeah, Bain Ali, and we are all listening. You're listening, fans. Bain Ali, good morning. Yeah, good morning to you, Miss Erlin Wifey. Good morning. How you do? You good? Nice. All right, folks, we've got to take that break. We've got the AM edition of News, Sports, and the Weather coming up. Those of you who are on the television platform, we've got a rebroadcast of last evening's television news. Stick and stay with us. We're with you anywhere and everywhere.
Thanks for joining us. Grenada continues to etch its name into history at the Chelsea Flower Show. Pure Grenada secured another gold medal at the Royal Horticultural Society 2024 Chelsea Flower Show in the United Kingdom. Beverly Telesford reports.
This latest win is Pure Grenada's 17th gold medal. This year's exhibit was themed The Golden Falls of Grenada in honor of the nation's 50th year of independence. Inspired by the majestic Golden Falls, renowned for its twin cascades nestled within the rainforest, Pure Grenada's display showcased a vibrant array of heliconias, anthuriums, orchids, ginger lilies, shampoo gingers, and lush foliage under the guidance of Catherine John. The Grenada-based team members included Sherma Mitchell, Roderick Charles, Anderson Entwine, and Andrea Noel. The UK-based team members were Cornelius Joseph, Miles Joseph, Florence Richards, and Beverly Ogilvie. Mr. John Krizik has been working along with Team Grenada for years. He provided the bulk of the foliage for this year's presentation.
The theme this year is Golden Falls, which is a waterfall near Mount Horn. And it inspired Kathy John, our team leader, to do a magnificent display. Actually, it involves one day in the year, to be truthful, because the foliage, you see, I live in a jungle, as you can see, and there are leaves of different shapes and sizes everywhere you look, and that is what Kathy needs for her display. So she comes before and she tells us what she wants, and then on the day, which was last Tuesday in fact, all the staff are engaged on that. They don't do anything else. We start cutting the leaves and packing them in shredded paper and putting them into 4-foot-long boxes.
Adding to their accolades, Pure Grenada also clinched the President's Choice Award for the diverse flora of Grenada housed in the Great Pavilion. Krizik explained the award is considered the most prestigious.
That is a surprise. I never thought, I've never even heard of the award actually, but Kathy called me this morning and she told me about it. Now, I have since learned that this is the most coveted award that any exhibitor in a Chelsea Flower Show could possibly win. You cannot go higher than receiving the President's Award. And it is given for, among other things, quality of material, overall impression, impact, and endeavor. Now, that word endeavor, it means trying hard, and boy, did we ever try hard.
He appealed for more recognition for Grenada's continued success in the event.
I am sometimes saddened by the fact that people who enter sports competitions come back with all the glory when they return to Grenada, but nobody says anything to us.
The High Commissioner for Grenada in the United Kingdom extended heartfelt congratulations to Team Grenada for the 17th gold medal win and their 7th consecutive victory at the Chelsea Flower Show in London. Over the span of 2 decades, Grenada has continuously excelled at the RHS Chelsea Flower Show, boasting a tally of now 17 gold medals, 5 silver gilt medals, and 1 silver medal. Renowned as the epitome of international gardening extravagance, the RHS Chelsea Flower Show attracts a global audience, cementing its status as the pinnacle of horticultural excellence. Reporting for GBN News, Beverly Tellisford.
National Ozone Officer in the Ministry of Climate Resilience, the Environment and Renewable Energy, Leslie Smith, is warning of serious implications with increased global atmospheric temperatures. We have more in this Christina John report.
Predictions are that year on year, the world is getting hotter and hotter. According to Leslie Smith, National Ozone Officer in the Ministry of Climate Resilience, the Environment and Renewable Energy, 2023 has been recorded as the hottest year, while April 2024 was the hottest April on record. Smith said increased global atmospheric temperatures can result in serious implications.
For example, there is a need now for increased comfort cooling. The need for us to install more air conditioners. And this has further implication now on power generation in terms of the utility Grenada being able to provide this additional power to power these electrical appliances like our ACs. And so Grenada are registering increased peak demand for electricity bearing in mind that our electricity is generated from diesel, it means that the emissions that are resulting from this generation is even higher, contributing more greenhouse gases to our atmosphere and thereby increasing our temperatures further.
In addition to increased power generation, human health, the environment, as well as productivity levels in the workplace are also impacted.
For environment, as I was mentioning earlier, this high ambient temperature is affecting our indoor environment. So it makes it uncomfortable for us who are working indoors if you don't have comfort cooling. And so our environment is compromised because now we are pumping more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere by the electricity that is generated. Our environment is compromised, so we see the impacts of droughts, water shortages as we have now. It can also result in other adverse weather conditions. Who knows what will happen in the hurricane season? We know for a fact that when it's hot like this, it creates an enabling environment for very severe storms and hurricanes.
As individuals capitalize on cooling mechanism through the use of electric fans and air conditioning units, their electricity bills are likely to reflect increases.
The expectation is that you will see a bump in your electricity bill, especially for persons who are now operating fans for a longer period of time and air conditioners. You would also see in commercial entities, in offices and so on, you would expect that because the higher the ambient temperature, the greater the demand for electricity for these appliances. And then the need for comfort cooling is increased. More and more people are installing air conditioners in their households now. And so Grenada is already registering increased peak demand for electricity. And so that is the expectation. In addition to that, because of what is happening geopolitically, globally, oil prices are high, and that is a direct reflection on our electricity bill because it's a pass-through. And so the expectation again is increased electricity bills during this period of time.
Ozone officer added that the drought-like conditions and the extreme dry spells experienced is partially the result of climate change and human-induced climate change resulting from the excessive amount of greenhouse gases emitted into the atmosphere. He offered a few recommendations.
So we need to decarbonize most of the things that we do. We need to introduce renewable energy more into our electricity generation. We need to look at how we can solarize our homes. So government is providing incentives to do that to the tune that all solar PV components now attract 100% concessions. There are energy efficiency measures that government is also promoting. But we still need to make these types of technologies more affordable to people. How we can bring the costs down, how we can increase the capacity of our local people to do proper installations, and how we can educate our people in terms of energy conservation, making the right choices in terms of equipment selection, how they set the thermostats for the air conditioner, how they manage the refrigerators, etc.
Christina John, GBN News.
Other news, police have confirmed a shooting incident in which a house in Victoria was shot at just after 1 a.m. on Tuesday. It is unclear at this time if there were any injuries as a result of the shooting incident, which has sent shockwaves through the community. An official from the Community Relations Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force confirmed on Tuesday that an investigation has been launched into the incident. However, the official could not confirm widespread reports that the targeted house belongs to a female prison officer. Sources told GBN that evidence of the attack was visible at the scene, with bullet holes seen in the exterior of the house. The incident occurred amid rumors that a dangerous prisoner at His Majesty's prisons is orchestrating a network of criminal activities from behind bars. According to these unverified reports, this criminal figure recently failed to persuade a prison officer to smuggle a gun into the facility. The same prisoner is said to be seeking retribution against another inmate who assaulted him a few weeks ago. This incident highlights growing concerns about the influence of incarcerated individuals on external criminal activities and the potential dangers faced by law enforcement enforcement officers and their families. In the fight against escalating gun violence in the country, on May 1, the government introduced a 90-day gun amnesty in a bid to get illegal firearms off the streets. It is unclear whether individuals have been taking advantage of the opportunity to turn in their illegal firearms and ammunition without having to face prosecution. Well, police recorded a breakthrough in the country's latest homicide as two men appeared before the St. George's Magistrates Court on Tuesday on a slew of indictable charges. Nisha Paul reports.
As a precaution to ensure security and manage the expected large crowd of onlookers, the area surrounding the courthouse was cordoned off by police in preparation for the arrival of the murder suspects. Amidst significant police presence, murder-accused Razim Mitchell, 33, and Marcus John, 40, appeared before Chief Magistrate Francine Foster on a slew of indictable charges ranging from capital murder and attempt to commit capital murder by two, possession of a firearm and ammunition, stealing a motor vehicle valued at $80,000, and jewelry items valued at over $9,000. The charges stem from a May 12 incident in the Saigon Grand Dance St. George area, which resulted in severe injuries to two individuals and the subsequent death of 28-year-old Vaughn Wangi Cyrus of the Carnage St. George. Both Mitchell and John have been remanded into custody and are scheduled to reappear before the Chief Magistrate for mention on June 10. The preliminary inquiry, which will determine whether there is enough evidence to proceed with a trial in the High Court, is set to commence on September 24. The murder suspects, who were apprehended by police on the weekend, are being represented in court by well-known attorney Jerry Edwin in what is expected to be a closely watched legal battle. Their arrest in the country's 9th homicide comes on the heels of intensive investigation by law enforcement as they double down on efforts to combat escalating gun-related crimes in the country. The case will undoubtedly continue to capture the attention of the nation, reflecting broader concerns about crime and justice in the community. Reporting for GBN News, I'm Nisha Paul.
Government has entered into a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, with Suku Technologies, a full-service information technology solutions firm based in Ghana. Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell and Sunam Akpelu, the Chief Executive Officer of Suku Technologies, signed the MOU, the purpose of which is to establish a collaborative framework between the Grenada government and Suku Technologies. It is reported that both entities aim to draft a letter of intent outlining terms for a mutually beneficial business relationship. This collaboration primarily focuses on enhancing ICT capacity building initiatives for Grenada's civil servants, youth, as well as micro, small, and medium enterprises. We can tell you too, the MOU outlines plans for potential service delivery by Suku Technologies and discussions regarding the creation of educational resources such as e-learning modules, workshops, and learning materials to facilitate continuous skill development in ICT. Now, the family is the cornerstone of society and ought to provide a stable and supportive environment for people of all ages. My Family Matters, Step Up Your Parenting Game was the theme for this year's observance of the International Day of Families. A week of activities to mark this occasion concluded on Monday. Christina John tells us more.
The observance climaxed with a family fun day at the Rose Hill playing field in St. Patrick on Monday. Carisha Cyrus is the parenting coordinator for the parenting program in the Ministry of Social and Community Development.
Focus of our main activity, which is our family fun day, which was held at the Rose Hill playing field, that's in St. Patrick's. Our objective basically was to bring families together including people with disabilities, and bringing families together. It also was an opportunity to demonstrate family togetherness, inclusion in community, and even to support and have the involvement of community. It was also an opportunity of us bringing our stakeholders also together for a day of games and excitement as we celebrated our nation's family holistically and also inclusively.
The main highlight of the day was a Daddies Can Cook competition. Cyrus explained the purpose of the competition.
Oh yes, we had the competition of oilong, palau, brongdong, and a soup. To actually dip, and based on what they dip for, that is what they had to prepare on. And the reason for that was that we lacked the involvement of male and fathers within the home and the participation of fathers performing their roles and responsibilities. So we know basically mothers are usually involved in the kitchen. Mothers are involved for the taking care of the kids and having the cooking and preparing of the meals. So the ministry took the initiative of meeting with the men and engaging with the men on the block. And the idea was to have them come out, prepare the pots, the different variety of dishes, and they literally came together as a community and presented themselves.
Strengthening values and improving family time was the focus of this year's observance of International Day of the Family. Strong, well-functioning families can aid in the reduction of poverty, improve the well-being of single mothers, promote gender equality, and promote human rights. May 15th was the official date for the observance of International Day of the Family, which has been dedicated as a day to raise awareness on issues that affect families and increase knowledge on the social, economic, and democratic processes that affect families. Christina John, GBN News.
In order to improve air access to the sister island of Carriacou, much needed work is being done on the Lauriston Airport, including the installation of night landing equipment. More in this report.
Landing on the sister isle at night will soon become a reality as work has officially begun on installing night landing facilities at the Lauriston Airport in Carriacou. The availability of night landing will be an important milestone in enhancing the airport's capabilities. The initiative includes the installation of obstruction lights, which will facilitate safe and efficient aircraft landing during night hours. In addition to the new lighting, other upgrades are planned, including pavement retrofitting to improve the airport's operational capacity. These enhancements aim to ensure that the airport meets international standards and better serves the needs of travelers and the local community. The project represents fulfillment of a promise made by Prime Minister, the Honorable Dickon Mitchell, who is also the Minister for Infrastructure and Physical Development, Public Utilities, Civil Aviation, and Transportation. The work is being spearheaded by a dedicated team comprising representatives from the Grenada Airport Authority, the Grenada Bureau of Standards, and other key stakeholders. This collaborative effort underscores the government's commitment to advancing infrastructure and enhancing connectivity for Carriacou and its residents. Rena P. Thomas, GBN News.
The beauty of nature captured and shared through the GBN ISO lens. Stay with us.
Our citizen journalist tonight wishes to highlight an aspect of wildlife in Grenada while thanking the people who make the extra effort to protect the environment. He shared a video of a flock of young birds which safely hatched this year. The birds were seen circling an area where a fishing net was cast. We thank our citizen journalist DJ Zaf for sharing his love for wildlife through his submission. Send us your photo and video submissions via WhatsApp at 405-3052 or our other social media platforms.
natural disaster can change your life in minutes. Preparation is the best protection for your family and business. Prepare now. Create a disaster plan and make sure everyone knows what to do. Store water, non-perishable food, and medication. Remember basic emergency supplies such as batteries and flashlights. Trim overhanging trees. If trees near power lines are unsafe to trim, call Grenada at 237 for assistance or advice. Install surge protectors to safeguard your electrical devices against outages and intermittent surges. Make sure your generator has an isolation switch. It will prevent power from feeding to our lines and electrocuting others. For more information, visit grenlec.com.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for Grenada to laugh again. Heritage Theatre presents Spice Laugh Comedy Bash 2024, Saturday, June 22nd and Sunday, 23rd June at the Trade Center in Grandance, and on Sunday, 30th June at the Deluxe Cinema in Grenville. Showtime, 7 p.m. every time, featuring some of Grenada's best ambassadors of comedy: Robert White, Dillion Walters, Kareem Alexis, Dale Bowler, and other outstanding comedic performances, all coming to knock you off your seats with laughter. Get your tickets now. Bring out the entire family. Tickets are $60 and available at Mitchell's Pharmacy in Grandance, Gittins Health and Wellness at all outlets, Art and Soul Bookstore, Spiceland Mall, 3B's Shoe Store, downtown St. George's, Calico Supermarket, Grenville and Sutairs, St. David's Pharmacy, and Go to Fet. It's time for Spice Laugh Comedy Bash 2024.
Meet Mom. She's not just the wake up at the crack of dawn, make breakfast and pack bags kind of mom. She also gets her fitness game on. Yeah, she's the don't let anyone forget anything kind of mom. At the same time, she's the runs her own business, closing deals kind of mom, who finds time to get down and boogie with the kids after school, remodel the house, bake cake, host dinner, and even play her favorite game at the end of the day kind of mom. So let's celebrate Mom, because to us, she's so much more.
From the fertile heart of Grenada to the far reaches of the globe, Ram's Supermarket brings together the best of both worlds. Savor the freshest, locally sourced produce from our trusted Grenadian farmers and explore a curated selection of top-quality international favorites. Experience a shopping journey where warmth meets a world of flavors and affordability meets premium quality. At Rams, we welcome everyone to discover the joy of global and local culinary delights. Nestled in Sugar Mill, Grand Anse, we are open all week to offer you a taste of home and beyond. Rams Supermarket, where our family, community, and the world come together. We are the good food people.
Served Grenada for decades, we are the #1 and largest electrical supplier.
Hi, welcome to Sunny Electrical. How may I help?
We offer electrical wire and accessories, tools, and appliances for all residential, commercial, and industrial applications, which is what we are known for. And we expanded our products with new innovative ways to modernize your home. New homeowners will be captivated in our lighting showrooms.
Some more pendant lights here. These are very multifunctional because they can work for kitchens, living rooms, bedrooms.
We have a wide selection of lighting, ranging from indoor to outdoor and solar. We are also available for site visit services to assist you with selecting the perfect light for your forever home. We are located at Dusty Highway in Grandin, St. George. Sudden Electrical. Best value, expert advice, quality products. We hope to see you soon.
Are you looking for a reliable, affordable, and customer-friendly pharmacy? Look no further than Hills and Valley Pharmacy, the nation's leading healthcare products and services provider. We are committed to serving you at convenient locations. Find an extensive and affordable selection of prescription and over-the-counter drugs and medical supplies at Church Street, Hillsborough, Carriacou, Jubilee Street, Grenville, St. Andrew, near the bus terminal, and Halifax and Grenville Street, St. George. Our committed team is always available to offer valuable assistance for managing your health and wellness. Discover the additional benefits of our wholesale distribution on Halifax Street and our Medcare Center on Grenville Street, where we provide in-house physiotherapy, massage therapy, doctor consultations, and eye care services. Our commitment is to satisfy all your healthcare needs, including competitive prices, loyalty rewards, and special discounts for seniors. Contact us at 435-6904 and WhatsApp 535-4734. Choose Hills and Valley Pharmacy. Remember, your health is our business.
Records at the traffic department shows that a total of 1,447 accidents were reported for the year 2012, which includes 3 road fatalities. 2,946 accidents were reported for the year 2022, which includes 8 road fatalities. This is a significant increase of 104%. This is alarming. When a family tragically loses a loved one, does it matter whether by means of a gun or a motor vehicle? To avoid accidents, drivers and pedestrians alike must exercise extreme caution when using the road.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us #1. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
want you to control your anger. There's a way to feel better. That's one thing to remember. No matter where you are, you can be a star. Stop and take a deep breath and relax yourself. Take another deep breath and relax it, and relax it. Eliminate violence.
All right, welcome viewers and listeners across all the platforms this morning. Of course, it's time for the conversation. It's a busy morning this morning. Last week, you remembered I had Miss Jamila Roberts and Mr. Lennon Abraham from Nawasa here, and I promised that I was going to get someone from the Ministry of Agriculture that can come and further enlighten us on to the cause for the scarcity of water that we're having, you know, as it relates to climate change effects and so forth. And they will be up after this first guest. But with me this morning is Miss Ariel Roberts, rather, and she's representing the MAK Foundation for Children. Good morning, Miss Roberts.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I am doing fine. How about you?
I'm doing excellent.
I can see that. All right. I want us to get to this. The MAK Foundation. What is this all about?
So the MAK Dream Foundation for Kids is a foundation that focuses on providing experiences for children in Grenada who might not have the opportunity otherwise. So we focus on children from different homes, and we want to be able to give them an improved quality of life and expose them to experiences that show them how important they are. Because everybody knows it's important to feel good, and not everybody has that special parent or aunt or role model that can provide these kinds of experiences. Because these are the kids that are going to grow up and be our teachers, our policemen, our private sector business owners. So we want to make sure that we provide a good experience and access to resources like counseling and a comfortable home environment.
And when you say from homes, are we talking from family homes or homes for
children.
For children.
So not family homes. We focus on children who are in orphanages.
Okay.
Orphanages, yes.
Okay. All right. And how long has this MAK Foundation started?
So we have been registered, I think this year is when we formally registered, but our founder, Miss Yvette Kong, she has this foundation as well in Trinidad, where she's originally from. So she got the idea from her non-profit in Trinidad, and she saw the need here. When she moved here in 2019, she started doing charitable work in different organizations, and she really saw the need for this. So in 2024, she registered, and she said, you know what, this is going to be our opportunity to make a mark and do something for the kids of Grenada.
And how has it been going thus far?
Honestly, I'm very, very happy at the response that we've gotten. Everybody sees this as a great initiative. So we've had a lot of support from the private sector. Our sponsors have been amazing. The list, I'm very happy with the list, but you know, with an initiative like this, it costs money, and we're always open to more sponsors, more donations. But we have to give a special thanks to Silver Sands, to Quartz, to Flow, Umbrellas, Spice Island Mall, Sherwin-Williams, Spice Isle Fish House, Home Hospitality Grenada, my company, Grenada Enterprises, Radisson, the Ministry of Social Development, which is one of our major partners. They're the ones that help us identify the different homes and their needs so that we can work directly with them and make sure we're actually solving the problems that exist. Pure Grenada, the Grenada Tourism Authority, another big supporter, Juniors Pastries, and Bryden and Miners.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, in that period period of time that you've existed, in your humble assessment, do you see that the orphanages in Grenada, are they really making a mark on children's lives?
Well, of course, because if it wasn't for these orphanages, the load of taking care of these children might go on to extended family members, or sometimes, unfortunately, as bleak as it sounds, there is no other option. So in these homes as well, the money is not infinite. So sometimes you're not going to have a counselor. That is one of the main things that we're going to focus on, putting the funds towards providing counseling, doing small things like painting the grounds. One of the things we got from courts was a bicycle. So we're going to have a little raffle for the 50 kids so that they could get a bicycle going towards the home. So it's nothing insane that we're doing, but it's all the small bits that adds up to adding that little bit more of joy, because those homes are doing an amazing job. They're providing, housing, they're providing that emotional support, the food, the day-to-day, but sometimes even in our personal families, there's a little shortage. So we hope to bridge that gap and just improve the experience for these kids just a little bit more.
Rearrange my ignorance on this. How many orphanages are there on island?
Well, that I'm not sure, but we're working with two specifically that were identified by the Ministry of Social Development, and I think they're both within St. George's, but hopefully by the end, in every year we plan to do this, so hopefully within 2 or 3 years we can have kids from every single orphanage.
Wow. That's a very touching initiative. I mean, I did not realize that we had so many orphans in Grenada.
Yeah.
Is that a serious problem?
I wouldn't say it's different from any other country in the world, but unfortunately, these are the times that we live in. And it's nice to look at the brighter stuff in life. It's nice to see how well things are going in Grenada, development-wise and everything like that. But we still need to remember the people who often get overlooked. And so all we can do is do our part and try to bring attention and awareness to this. Because I grew up in Mount Parnassus, and there's 2 homes within not even a mile away from me. So if that's the amount of homes they have in such a small area, imagine the size of Grenada. So, I really think this is an important initiative that a lot of people should pay attention to. And even if you guys don't support us, pay attention to your community. Look around and see, how can I help? Even if it's in a small way. It doesn't always have to be with an orphanage, but there are kids out there that need help. Not just in a financial way, but in a way of protecting them, keeping an eye out to make sure that they're not being preyed on by people around them. So I think even though we can only attack a small bit at a time, it's just an opportunity to raise awareness and encourage people to do what they can.
Wow, this is, this is one of the situations that I've overlooked. I never paid attention to the fact that we had so many orphans in Grenada, really. Yep. Another quick question. How involved is the Ministry of Social Development and Child Protection Authority and so forth? Because as there's a song I'm writing now, where there is good, there is bad. All right? So in as much as the orphanage could be a good venture, there could be some ills to it as well. So how involved are the Child Protection Authority and the Ministry of Social Development?
So without the Ministry of Social Development, we would not be able to put on this event, because they are the ones that identify the need. So, and it's a very sensitive area as well, because there needs to be a lot of privacy and protection when it comes to kids. So they have done a great job at keeping us informed without invading the privacy of the children and the home. So they have been providing us with the names, with their needs, with the orphanages at hand, identifying caretakers who can assist, because it's a big event. So having to pick up all the kids and make sure that they have chaperones and stuff like that, they've been doing a very good job in helping us in that regard. So they've been helping us with the organization, but when it comes to the financing and stuff like that, we are very grateful for our private sector sponsors. And we also use this as an opportunity because, yes, we want to make sure to take care of the kids, but we also want to highlight all the amazing, generous people in Grenada, not just our sponsors, but our vendors, because we want to use this as an opportunity as well to highlight all the talent in Grenada. Because, like I said, these kids are going to grow up to be the people who start businesses, the people who work in our businesses in Grenada. So our vendors are also an opportunity to show kids that, hey, there are different career paths. hats. Not everybody has to be a lawyer. Not everybody has to be a doctor. You could be an artist. You could be a farmer. We have from writers. We have Mr. David Ambrose. He writes children's books, so he's going to have a tent there. We have Mr. Alexander, who's doing fruit trees, Fiona's Crafts and Candles, Living Essential Skincare by Keisha Miller. We have Kelvin David, Western Dairies Ice Cream, Takesha, hand-painted bowlies, Jamila Theodore, she's an amazing artist. She does rubber band and string creations, Carol and Clayton Mosaic Creations, award-winning hot sauce entrepreneur Avril Aberdeen with piquancy flavors.
That's my girl.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
And these are the role models that we want to connect these kids with, because yes, they're going to get an experience and have fun, win a couple prizes, but they're going to get to build relationships with people in real life and have somebody to look forward to and say, wow, I could do this too. I could run my own business. I could work with, we're going to have so many different companies there. We're going to have financial institutions teaching parents about access to loans. We're going to have McIntyre with cars. There's going to be something for everybody, and just a really great opportunity to showcase the good side of what's going on in Grenada right now.
Now let's zero in on the event itself. Tell us the date, where it will be, and the time and so forth.
Okay, awesome. So on June 9th, it's a Sunday, we're going to be at Radisson Conference Center. So where they have we're going to have a magic show. We're bringing up a magician from Trinidad. But before the magic show, we're going to have a fun day full of events. So we're starting at 11 a.m. We're going to have a bouncy castle. We're going to have ring toss for the dads with lots of nice drinks from Bryden and Miners. Thank you, Brydens. Yeah. So we're going to have a lot of fun games. We're going to have donkey rides. We're going to have a talent show for the kids. We even got a tablet from Flo. That's going to be one of the prizes that we give away. So we have some great prizes going on. We encourage people to come down from 11 o'clock. We're going to have lunch available. We're going to have tea from 3 o'clock. And then the grand finale is a magic show that starts at 5 in the ballroom. So the vendors are going to be there from 11 to 5. And then at 5 o'clock, we're going to direct the traffic into the ballroom for the grand magic show.
And is it a paid event or it's free?
Well, maybe one day, if we get enough sponsors, we could make it free. But right now, it's a paid event. It's only $40 entry for the kids. And with that $40, you get access to the magic show. For parents, it's $120 for the ticket, but that gives you lunch, access to the magic show, and entry. But if you just want entry, it's $20. Okay. So you could get the entry, but then you'd have to pay for your lunch separately, pay for the magic show separately, and stuff like that. But whatever you decide to do, we encourage you to come on down and enjoy the experience, see what it has going on, and give the kids something fun to do. Not everything is always about the parents, you know.
Okay. While you were talking, something buzzed through my head, and I need some, idea on that. In your interfacing with the various orphanages, what's the sort of age range that you find? That's the first part, and then predominantly, are they more boys or girls?
Well, I personally have not been doing the meetings with the orphanages. That's our founder, Yvette Kong. But I would imagine that the ages range anywhere from little babies under 1 year old up to 18 when they have to leave. So it's quite a range of children, but we're focusing on the younger ages, like below 13.
Okay. That's very, very interesting. All right. Well, folks, you heard it. The event again is
June
9th, and it will be at
Radisson Conference Center.
And it starts at
11 a.m.
And the cost is
120 EC all-inclusive for parents and 40 EC for kids with access to the magic show.
Okay. Miss Roberts, I have it right. Thank you for dropping by and affording us that opportunity to be exposed to that. And just a clarion call, you have a little extra, find an orphanage or some needy child in your community and be a form of support. I really did not realize that we had that many orphanages on island.
Exactly.
Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you so much for the opportunity. We really appreciate this platform to get the word out there. And I hope to see you there on June 9th.
It's a Sunday, so it's usually my church day, but maybe I'll get some exemption on that day.
Well, the Lord sees you and He knows your heart is good. He's going to say, come on down and support the children.
Ms. Roberts, you're more than 1.5. Well, folks, that's it for this segment of the conversation. We take a commercial break. When we come back, I have the folks from Nawasa, as promised last week, together with a representative from the Ministry of Agriculture. We'll be back after these messages. Don't you go anywhere.
Mark your calendars for a magical day filled with laughter, games, and prizes at the Magical Kids Fair and Family Fun Day. Witness the thrilling Johnny Magic from Trinidad on Sunday, 9th June at the Radisson Hotel Conference Center. Fun activities for kids and parents all day, starting at 11 a.m. Just by attending, you could win a luxurious 2-night stay for two at the Silver Sands Resort Grenada, including breakfast. Kids admission with magic show included is only $40, so don't miss out on the chance to win big. Get your tickets now, online at gotofed.com or in person at Grenadian Optical and the Computer Store in St. George's, Calico in Grenville, and Kim's Radio in Carriacou. See you there on Sunday, 9th June at the Magical Kids Fair.
So much to see. Every corner I turn, there's something there to remind me of my beautiful nation and what it means to me. Not a thing out of place, that's what's special about it. And do you hear? It's the songs the birds are singing. Do you hear? Sound that's ever
Welcome back, viewers and listeners. It's 24 minutes on to 8 o'clock. And as promised last week, I've got with me... I said last week that I would, endeavor to bring in someone else from NAWASA and also someone from the Ministry of Agriculture who would be able to explain to us so that we will be educated as to why there's a scarcity, and that in itself might, prevent you and, stop you from or slow you down from beating up on NAWASA too much and feel that NAWASA is the one that just not giving us the water. So this morning with me, I've got the acting general manager of NAWASA, Mr. Terrence Smith, and also the acting Chief Extension Officer, Miss Lauren St. Louis. Good morning, lady and gentlemen. Welcome to the hot seat.
Good morning. Good morning.
Wow, this song nice, isn't it? Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so without much further say or do, we all know what the main hot topic on the island, besides the gun violence and convention and things like that, people are beating up about water. I think I want to start from NAWASA's perspective. Mr. Lennon Abraham and Jamila Lewis last week, they gave a fair account of themselves, explaining why the scarcity and so forth and so forth. But from your perspective, what is the main challenge NAWASA is facing?
Thank you, and good morning again to you and radio and TV listeners. So in a sense, what we're experiencing is a water supply shortfall brought about by a lack of rainfall, leading to what we now consider to be a severe drought. Now we know every year, forever, we've had a rainy season, a very distinct rainy season, and a very distinct dry season. Dry season usually starts at the beginning of the year, January. Sometimes we get rain into January, and the dry season starts in February, and it usually runs until when? Until Corpus Christi, when everybody plants. Yeah. They say rain must fall on Corpus Christi. Now, because we believe of global climate change and the impacts therefrom, we're seeing kind of everything turning on its head. So we had a 3-week period of intense, we had a 3-week period of lack of rainfall in the middle of the rainy season. And we sometimes have rain in the dry season. It so happens, unfortunately, that this year, from the end of February, February into early March, we've had a significant decrease in the daily rainfall throughout the island. The major areas that are impacted, however, are a large part of southern St. George Parish, or a large part of St. George Parish, a significant part of St. David's Parish, and a reasonably large part of St. Andrew. Yeah, so that's how it manifests itself. We can look a little further into what we think are some of the causes, and so this is the situation we're facing. I want to emphasize also, it's very important that our population doesn't identify this phenomenon that we're experiencing now as a NAWASA issue or a NAWASA problem. I cannot overemphasize that. Right. It is a drought. It is a national situation that we're facing.
Well, not just national, because I'm in the news, I'm in the media, and throughout the weeks before now, you hear every day a different country setting up water measures to because of the scarcity. But a quick question though, because before we look to the science behind it, from NAWASA's perspective, what steps are being taken to mitigate against a similar situation next year?
Yeah. So we have been, in our public communications, NAWASA has been very consistent over the past several years. We have the single largest capital injection in the water sector is the so-called G-Cruise project.
That's what the Grenada. Is it for the German?
Well, yeah, the GIZ, but it's funded by the Green Climate Fund. right? Which is one of the entities set up with the global climate change movement a few years ago. This is our $42 million that's been implemented over a 6-year period, December 2019 to December 2025. So we're well into year 5 of 6. NAWASA has been implementing this project from the end of 2019 into 2020. Implementation has been negatively impacted, of course, by the COVID epidemic and the resulting, lockdowns and so forth. But we're trying our best to ensure that we can spend all of the funds by the end of 2025.
If you can't spend it, I know
we will lose it.
I'm good at spending money. Just,
we will lose it, unfortunately. So that is and in essence, the G-Cruise project aims at promoting a climate resilient water sector in terms of hard civil, what we call civil engineering infrastructure. So it's a large component of the project funds are going to pipeline installation, replacing of aged pipelines, transmission and distribution means. We're also adding in the vicinity of 4 million gallons in added distribution storage, distribution reservoirs strategically located. I believe there'll be about 12 of them in Grenada and Carriacou. So it's pipelines, it's water storage tanks, and it's a very big project, as I said. So there are a significant number of components, but they're also, in addition to the hard engineering components, they're also what we call the soft components, such as promoting rainwater harvesting. We are also going to be investing a significant sum in computer technology for asset management that is going to significantly change the way we respond to customer calls, customer complaints, how we allocate resources for responding to customer complaints, how we manage all of our asset base. And the asset base of our water utility is basically our treatment plants and reservoirs and pipelines and the pumps and so on, all of the components of the water production and distribution system. Right? There's also there are other components that involve the Grenada Development Bank (GDB). That's currently involved with farmers in promoting rainwater harvesting and climate resilient farming practices and so forth. There was a component that focused on the tourism industry, hotels. I don't think there was such a encouraging buy-in from the hotels, but there's a very, very good response from the farming community. So it's a wide-ranging project. That's the G-Cruise project. NAWASA's Grenada's water system was set up in the early 1900s. Several of the plants and so on that are running now were built in the 1920s and 1930s. So they are 100 years old, right? Generally, if you build civil infrastructure out of reinforced concrete, the lifespan is of the order of 50 or 60 years. Right, so some of these plants that we have, right, Les Avocats and so forth, I think Les Avocats is one of the earliest plants, are around 100 years old, right? So they are essentially past their useful economic life. Now, we can't rebuild all of the dams and the intakes and so on, overnight. It's going to take a lot of resources to do that. We're not attempting to do that in the G-Cruise project, but certainly replacing aged and leaking pipelines and so. So there is no quick fix to our country's water issues, right? It is continual investment, it's strategic thinking and continuous investment year after year, right? In prioritizing your needs, replacing pipelines, replacing aged reservoirs as the case may be, or installing new ones, right? And improving your systems and so on, which is what the G-Cruise project. And then very quickly to conclude, there's another similar project, the so-called UK SIF project that's funded by the UK government. This project was opened about 2.5 months ago, and this one also has to be implemented by the end of 2025. This one is about $20 million, and it involves, again, replacement of mains, and we're going to be replacing mains from the tunnel along the Carenage, Port Highway, Belmont, Kirani James Boulevard, Belmont, right down Granans, right to Point Celine, right, in the next year to year and a half.
Okay.
And it is also going to involve taking an excess of supply from the Concord water treatment plant of the order of 300,000 gallons a day to convey to the south of the island to assist in alleviating the shortfall, right? Okay. I should mention also the G Cruise project is going to involve this one is more water transfer. From the Seven Sisters area, we're going to be pumping a similar volume of water, right, into one of the treatment plants, or at least into the dam of one of the main treatment plants, right, to alleviate the extensive supply area of the Annandale water treatment plant. So these are, in a sense, some of the major inputs that NAWASA is making into improving our water infrastructure.
I do hope that NAWASA does better than, previous administrations in terms of their implementation, because as you know, there are a number of projects that should have been implemented and we've lost a lot of money. So I know I believe that NAWASA would spend the money and get the work done.
I believe so too.
Lovely. Now, we've been talking for a while with Mr. Smith, the acting general manager of NAWASA. Let us look at the science behind our water availability and scarcity as it relates. Let's speak with Ms. St. Louis, the acting chief extension officer from the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Cooperatives and all this and all them. A big lady. When I say big, let's start here. Morning.
Good morning, and good morning to all our listeners. In terms of the science of water, we have to realize that water is not an infinite resource. People seem to think all the time that you have water and you must always have water. Water is something that must be managed. It's a resource that must be managed. And in doing so, we have to think about how the water gets from the sky to the ground to NAWASA's dams and then to our homes. It's not just that water falls and it's cut somewhere and then trucked to your house. It has to be, we have areas that we call watersheds. Those are areas that most of them are very high up, and those areas are where you catch the water. And then there's a dam, that we channel the water into. Now, because of climate change, there are, we have lots of changes in our weather patterns, in how hot it is, in the duration of our weather patterns. As Mr. Smith earlier said, previously, in probably 20 years ago, we would have had a dry season and a rainy season. Clear cut. We used to know exactly when it was rainy season and exactly when
it was evident
it was dry season. This year, for example, the dry season really started, as Mr. Smith said, at the end of February. I mean, like a marked change in having no rain. But what we've seen is that there's no rain. It's not that it's just, you might have a shower or a significant shower here and there. There's no rain. In addition to which, it's extremely hot. There is hardly much change in the temperature between the day and the night.
Yeah.
And generally, there normally is. And that would help to cool down the ground. You'd have dew. Some of that is what happens because to
dew has become almost non-existent.
You don't have that because of the fact that the temperatures between day and night, very, very, very small changes. And of course, we have very high winds. The winds are very, very high, and so any kind of rain or any kind of moisture that might have been in the air, it's blown away because of the wind. So we have to look into how we manage that resource, how the effects that cutting down your trees, everybody needs to live. We need to have residences. We need to have farmers need to clear lands in order to plant and to produce our food. However, we have to think about how that affects everything else on the line. And the removal of your trees severely affects watersheds, because your trees attract your water, and it leaves the ground exposed, which leads to hotter. Your soil is much hotter. And so all of that is not just one thing. So it's a whole system of things that have to be managed.
So the laymen who are listening to the program at the moment, all right, the scientific explanation, I mean, I could identify with it, but let us tell them how they can make their role felt in not ensuring that we have rain, but ensuring that we do things that do not prevent our rain from falling. What can the ordinary citizen do? What are some of the practices they must employ?
Well, I don't know if anybody can do anything to encourage rain to fall. I think that is a much broader topic. But just for our homes, we have to think about conservation. We have to think about using as little water as possible for whatever our needs. So just in your households, even NAWASA has always encouraged that you do your dishes and you make sure you turn off your pipe. You use like washing machines and so that are water effective, or that manage the water efficient, that sort of thing. When you're brushing your teeth, you turn up the
guilty as charged.
You turn up the pipe. You think about how much water you use when you're washing your cars. You think about for farmers. Farmers love to see the entire place wet. They love to see when they're irrigating, the sprinklers spinning and water's everywhere. The plants may not need all of that water. Think about drip irrigation that would put the water exactly where the plant needs it and not have all of this wastage. And that is where I think we have to start thinking about how we can conserve the water that we have. We also have to think about rainwater harvesting, even in our homes, to use the guttering, channel it into a drum or, some kind of tank, some kind of storage area that you can reuse that water instead of that water just washing away.
Mr. Smith, from NAWASA's perspective, all right, since the clock on the church on top of the hill, there was a watch. NAWASA has been emphasizing the importance of water conservation in homes, practicing water management practices. But do you think that the Grenadian people are really taking heed to these calls, as they should?
Well, it's difficult for me to answer that question in a scientific way. I think perhaps maybe NAWASA needs to do some kind of customer survey, consumer survey, and this could be one of the issues inquired into. But I think it's like in all societies, it's a never-ending task. It's a never-ending task. There are people I know who use water like that, right? I need to remind myself all the time, right, of the need for water conservation. In my home, we have a rainwater harvesting system, right? So I sometimes say, well, I figure I'm justified. I have my little kitchen garden and so on, and because I'm collecting rainfall, I think I'm entitled to wet my plants. Now, obviously, in the current restrictions, my kitchen garden is kind of drying up, and so although I may do a little watering with a watering can for some of the real special herbs and so on, right? But it's a continuous process of education and re-education and reinforcement. We're tending to focus on the students All right. In the current drought situation where we are actively engaged with NADMA, for example, one of the tasks we were given when the NEAC met 2 Fridays ago, we were given the task of preparing some posters and so on promoting water conservation, which we did. And we gave to the Ministry of Education, and those are to be disseminated through the schools. So focusing on the youth, on school children. They will be convinced, and they can bring the message home to their parents. So it's a continuous process. It's a continuous process. One of the just to reinforce Ms. St. Louis' point, one of the predictions with global climate change is while they're predicting only a slight decrease in the amount of rainfall that we get, just a slight decrease over the years, I think to about 2060 or something like that. But what they're also predicting is that shorter, sharper showers. So when the rain is falling, it's going to really fall. Maybe not for very long, and in dry periods are going to be intensely dry, along with the elevated temperatures, including elevated sea surface temperatures, so sea temperatures, which has its own negative impacts on the coastal marine environment and the reefs and so forth, right? I'd like to add also, in a sense, that it's an area that is perhaps needs a lot more focus, and I'm hoping that we can focus on this a lot more going forward. That's NAWASA, and that is watershed management. Mr. Louis mentioned it also. Watershed management. We call in for storage. We need more storage. A lot of rain falling in the rainy season, and they're going to waste, and in the dry season we don't have. Well, think of your watersheds as a reservoir.
When you say watersheds, what are you referring to for the ordinary man?
So, Mr. Louis, you want to define watersheds for us?
Your watershed would be an area where water would collect.
Okay.
So water naturally would run down or run into and collect us in certain areas, and so that would be where most of your water would be held. We tend to think of areas like forests. We have forest reserves that are watershed areas. That areas where you have the most amount of water, or large amounts of water collected in that area. Yeah. That's the simplest way.
So to expand a little bit, in a sense, Grenada is divided into 71 watersheds. So the whole of Grenada, of mainland Grenada as an island, right, is divided into 71 watersheds. So the watershed goes right down to the coast. It's just that the water that we use to tap, to collect, to treat, to distribute as drinking water, look at the watershed as the interior of the island. Right. The forested interior of the island.
Yeah, we're looking.
It receives rainfall. Some of it is evaporated directly by the heat of the sun. Some of it is used by trees and plants and foliage and so for evapotranspiration for the trees to grow. Some of it, a lot of it, washes off, just runs off, in the process causing erosion and siltation of our dams and intakes. But a not insignificant proportion, in a sense, percolates into the soil and is stored in the soil. And when the rain stops falling at the end of the rainy season, this water seeps out slowly. It's referred to, the technical term is base flow. And this is what prevents our rivers from drying up within 2 or 3 days of the end of the rainy season.
Okay.
Now, granted, the flow in our rivers depletes significantly, and you may have some small little streams and rivulets and so on that dry up in a severe drought like now. But this is what causes continual flow. It doesn't rain in some areas for weeks.
Yeah.
But you still have the river. Where is that water coming from? It's the base flow.
Right.
So
what is usually referred to as the water table or something like that, to an extent?
Well, no, it's not the same. Some people use it kind of synonymously, but that's not technically correct. But we don't need to go into that level of technical details. Just think of the watershed as a sponge.
Right.
And if I use the analogy, if you throw a glass out, if you put a sponge on this table here, and you throw a glass of water in it, what's going to happen? Much of it is going to soak up in the sponge. A fair amount of it is going to run out initially. But if you come back later this evening, you'll still see a little trickle of water coming from the sponge. See, that is the base flow. So one of our challenges, in a sense, to conclude now, is we need, as a country, as a water utility, as a Ministry of Agriculture, we all have a vested interest in investing more resources into watershed management, improved watershed management practices. There's a whole range of activities that could be taken. It's closely allied to climate smart agriculture, protecting the slopes of our watersheds, climate smart agricultural practices, terracing and proper drainage, and the type of grasses that you plant to preserve the particularly steeper hillsides and so. And it goes right to reforestation. I pose the question, Innocent, how many trees have we in Grenada replanted since Hurricane Ivan, which is just now is 20 years old? 20 years. How many trees have we replanted? If you have the right kinds of, not my area of expertise, Ministry of Agriculture and forestry and so on, if you have the right kind of trees in your forests,
will attract the rain.
Aside from that, it will help through the action of the root system, and so it will help to make that sponge more receptive to receiving the rain that falls. A greater proportion of that rainfall would seep into the soil, and it would release it for a longer period of time. In other words, enhanced base flow.
Okay, tell you what, folks, by now you realize that we forfeited the BBC once again, all right? And I just think it's imperative that we do that. I want to get some calls from our listening and viewing audience. Let's take this first call. Good morning, caller.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph. Good morning to Mr. Smith and the other person that didn't get the name, but it sounds like Mr. Dewey anyway. Listen, I hear Mrs. Z very interesting information on both people and son. It is true, but I want us to focus in on something. You spoke of the water table, or you call it a watershed, huh? But tell me, have we as a people over the years destroyed this very important ecosystem in destroying our mangroves, in building marinas, unplugging the shed, in other words, so that the water that even percolates through the soil runs out to the end? Haven't we been doing that? Do you think that, major question, do you think that the policies of the state of Grenada is responsible to a great extent of destroying our capacity to store water in our soils? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, caller.
I'll let Mr. Louis go first.
Maybe not destroying, but I think we have not really taken it up as important as it is. And so, as Mr. Smith said, we have to educate people. People may think, and as I said, there are many vying needs. Everybody has, you want to live, your country wants to increase tourism, and most of the areas, as the caller said, most of the areas would have sea, on the seashore and, around that areas. And mangroves and so really would help. They would help in, as he said, plugging the watershed. And it would have made that a kind of barrier so that the water doesn't just quickly flow out. It also is used to kind of sieve what enters into the sea. And so it acted like a barrier between the sea and the land. And so the destruction or the removal would have had a negative effect on the watershed management. As it stands, those are things that have been done. And so, over the years. Now what we have to do is to try to remediate and fix what, to ensure that our country can survive. We can't have a situation where year after year the production of food is getting less and less, during a certain time. And then in the rainy season, there are other issues with food production also. Dry season is like the best time to produce, especially vegetables, and so that's the best time. It's just that, with the scarcity of water, that makes it difficult. And so we'd have to re-educate or educate our population as to how we can remediate and fix some of these issues. We have a project now. Ministry of Agriculture has a project now that deals with reforestation. As most of us know, there's a proliferation of bamboo. Bamboo is one of the species that takes up a lot of water. Mm-hmm. It soaks up water. And so we have a project now that's going to start soon that deals with removing the bamboos and planting back, some another species of plant that would be better for our watersheds. Okay. So there are things that's happening, but this didn't take one day to do, and it's not going to take one day to fix it. Yeah. And so it's something that we would, a lot of resources. We would have to really have a plan as to how it is, what it is we can fix, in the short term, medium term, and long term.
Let's entertain another caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm alive and thankful. Welcome to the program.
Yeah. Morning to the lady and gentlemen.
Good morning.
So I could talk because I realize they're speaking.
Go right ahead. You need to turn down the volume of whatever device you're using in the background, whether it's a TV or your radio. Turn it down and talk to me, communicate via the phone.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for that. Yeah, morning to you and morning to the lady.
Go ahead again, yes.
I want to ask some questions to the people. I want to ask the lady and the gentleman, do you know the name of a place called Sherman Valley?
Okay.
I want to know if they know a name of a place, Sherman Valley.
Do you?
Yes.
What happened to the big tank in Woburn on top of the hill? What happened to that? What happened to the borehole, the desalination plant down in the bottom of Woburn? What happened to the borehole pump in at the back of Woodland by the factory? Okay. Now I'm gonna say something. Let me think. Mr. Innocent, you go in the Bible and get it and tell these people that the master, the man, the world manual, the man that make this world, tell you, do not depend on my rainfall. It would not be always there. The water is down there. Go down there and find it. They condemn all of these things. In Sir Eric time, he brought these things forward. The water was a bit little salty sometimes, but we still used to get water, so you can water your plants, you can give your animals, and you can boil and drink. That is no more there. How many water trucks you all have? The Grenada Lake, I can tell you, that needs to be dredged. I could claim I'm an engineer with no papers, There's a machine called a drag lines that carry booms up to 700 feet. You can bring that into Grenada. Go just in Trinidad and you're getting it. Bring it into Grenada. They bring it and set it up, and it will dredge. It going at least at 3 points of that lake and dredge that whole granite tank, clean it out for you, and there will be water. There's a lot of things. Look, in the olden days, that's why when you go back to the 50s and 60s, they're telling you we cannot go back. We used to have wells, so you can, in hard times, you get water to pump. In the farmers, we used to have things what they call water hole by the garden or by the cane field. No, that is not. But what the farmers now can do, look at the size of the boom of the excavator. According to the location of the land, they can get an excavator, go inside it, and dig a deep hole and join some culvert and send it down. So at the dry time, you can pump from that. Our people are wasting a lot of water. then we know that. And what the people are doing, they need, when they want water, they have to get, they've seen the water, they don't know the cost of it, they don't know how it comes, but they are wasting water. Mr. Innocent, for instance, by me, you know what I'm talking about. You're going, we don't have any water now, but you're going in the sun, children, you're going back and wash your shoes and wash your foot, and where you're going? Back in the sun. Parents is there. Even simple things like no. Children are ruling parents.
Okay.
Going into places right now and your children, you have a toilet and washroom, but where you going at the washroom or whatever is not the same as where you're going. So the first time the child is going, they accompany them to see and make sure they understand what is going on. Thank you, ladies, gentlemen.
Thank you, caller. Folks, in case you're wondering, it's 11, just on 12 minutes after 8 o'clock. All right. It's time for us to wrap. I would have liked to engage more callers, but from NAWASA's perspective, Mr. Smith, all right. In the weather forecast this morning, I went further and I asked the forecaster, because I've started seeing little drizzles here and there. Last night we had a little drizzle and so forth. He said that atmospheric conditions are now getting more conducive to rainfall, maybe in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But as Mr. Noel taught me in geography, the weatherman is never right nor wrong. All right? Because they don't really have the control over that. The remaining portion of this dry spell that we are seeing, how adversely, really and truly, the real story of NAWASA, is it really, really, I mean, bad, real bad? Are we really heading to disaster from a water spell? I mean, the rivers are there, but we have people that write me every morning and say 9 days we ain't get water. Is it going to get any worse than that?
Well, if we don't get rain, it will get worse. But in a sense, if you allow me just a minute,
go right ahead
to make a quick response to the previous caller, because I think he's conflating some facts, and I don't think he quite has it right, and it may mislead other members of the public. NAWASA has had wells in the Shemin Valley and the Bailey's Bacalet and in Woodlands for many years. He's asking, what about the well in Shemin? I think I know he's talking about when you come in by the bridge, what they call a stinky bridge, where you have the effluent coming from the sugar factory that has a bad odor. Yeah. Right on the left-hand side there, many years ago, there was a well there. And that well was shut down many years ago because of saline intrusion, saltwater intrusion.
Because the sea's right there.
And it is related to global climate change, sea level rise being one of the impacts of global climate change. So we lost that well. There were another 2 wells in Woburn, one of which was in Lower Woodlands, that area there, that we lost, that has been shut down for several years. All right. In Shemin Valley, but we still producing from Shemin Valley, but we've also had water quality issues. All right. Now, the studies that have been done in the 80s and 90s and so do not indicate a significant potential for groundwater resources to solve Grenada's water problems or to meet Grenada's water needs, right? And we can do further studies now. Maybe at some point in time we could do some further studies, but it's unlikely to produce any different results from in the 80s and the 90s. Yeah, our terrain, our topography, our geography, and so on just doesn't lend themselves to significant amounts of groundwater borehole production. Right. So, in summary, we are producing water from wells in the southeast. St. David's, St. George, St. David parish boundary areas there. Yeah, that is most of the tanker water that is being trucked to the south of the island. That's we have a depot set up, a tanker depot set up in the Lacolome area, and that's borehole water that's being transported to the south. right? So enough on that. So yeah, it's important that we understand the issues that we face. Grenada, just over 90% of our production is from surface water runoff.
Okay.
Right, and we need to enhance. So, just if I could also just a quick response to the first caller. Yeah. My own view, my own professional opinion. So, Grenada is, because of our small size, we're like one big coastal community, right? And we use the term ridge to reef. We try to manage our resources from the ridge to the reef. Everything is interconnected. So technically speaking, yes, if you destroy your mangroves, your coastal wetland areas, right, you're primarily affecting the nearshore marine environment. You're affecting your fisheries, because it's well known the fish hatch and so on in the mangroves. Yeah. You're contributing to destroying your reefs and so forth, right? But the rainfall that we collect from flow in the rivers and streams for Nawasa's system, most of our dams, intakes and so on are at fairly high elevations and more towards the central, like 1/3 of the island, right? Rarely you'd find them anywhere close to the coast. Okay. So the focus ought to be, right? So Nawasa, obviously, we can't take on all issues, coastal degradation and all of that. That's other thing, right? Our focus, and we need to be really, really razor focused on this, is in investing in improved watershed management. And that is what we need to be hammering away at, improved watershed management. So that, as I say, we can preserve the quality of that sponge, so we can get more even flow, increased flow during the dry period. So I just thought I should make a quick response.
Right. I'm going to ask the final question. The same question is being posed to both parties, to the ministry and Nawasa. From Nawasa's perspective, do you collaborate and share information with regional water bodies, like authorities? Same from the ministry, especially with the situation that we're faced with now. Do you share information and knowledge and so forth, with your regional counterparts from the Ministry of Agriculture perspective in terms of dealing with the water situation we have? Because we know for a fact it's not just a Grenada problem; it's a worldwide problem, but we're zeroing on the region. Lady first.
Okay. From the Ministry of Agriculture standpoint, of course, we collaborate with our partners, regionally, internationally. The islands around, most of them, especially on our end, the lower belt, they're experiencing basically the same, same sort of conditions, and so we do. Exchange ideas, we exchange concerns, try to figure out how we can assist our farmers to deal with the situation as it is. So yes, we do.
Okay, thanks. Nawasa?
And innocent, again, I can't help just to go back. I didn't answer the second part of your question very briefly. Is it bad? It is an acute, serious drought that we're facing. And
is it the worst that we've had? History and records?
Possibly. I mean, we can't really spend the time now to do any big set of analysis and all of that. But I recall the last serious drought we've had is in 2010.
2010, yeah.
Right? In 2010, and from just kind of anecdotal, that's my own memory and so on. I was around in 2010. This one is worse.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is worse. Is it bad? It is. If you live in the southern St. George Parish, if you live in several parts of St. David, several parts of St. Andrews Parish, and as you mentioned, if you haven't had water for a week or two, well, it's bad.
Yeah, that's
right. Just to mention, in terms of collaboration and so, maybe we ought to be doing more throughout the year. But there's a regional entity referred to by the acronym CAWASA, Caribbean Water and Sewage Association, Inc. It's mainly the OECS islands and Barbados, the water utilities. So there's a formal grouping, and we have been in touch. We met last week online. We have a WhatsApp group with the CEOs of the water utilities, and we know that St. Lucia and St. Vincent have very, very similar problems to us. As a matter of fact, either yesterday or day before, St. Lucia, because the Water Act allows it, have declared a national water emergency. Okay. Our act doesn't allow us to do that. We just instituted the regulations for water restrictions, right? But if we don't get rain for another 10 days or 2 weeks, we would have to advise the policymakers that we need. So we are also in close contact with NADMA. I have been informally meeting, talking over the phone with NADMA's head on an almost daily basis. Up to last night, we had a long conversation, comparing notes and so on. And they have called into action the National Emergency Act, the NEAC, National Emergency Advisory Council, I think it is, that met 2 Fridays ago, and they formed a task force. We've met about 2 or 3 times. We met up to last Saturday. And so the disaster response arm of the state through NADMA and its various committees and so are being activated. But the thing is that we, I use the acronym with my colleagues, we are kind of like being slowly strangled because it's not a disaster. Right? And, curiously enough, you need to declare a disaster for the regional and international community to really respond. We have been trying to get 5-gallon so-called jerry cans because we believe that at the end of the distribution system, water at the household level, water for drinking, water for cooking and personal hygiene and so, is at risk when you have an extreme water shortage and people are getting water via, water truck and conveying, small containers and so. You have a public health risk of people consuming contaminated water and getting sick. So that is an important.
A number of
we also
outbreaks
we also trying to mobilize some collapsible 3, 4, or 5,000 gallon water containers to be located at strategic locations at-risk communities and so that can be filled up by a water truck and serve a community or group of houses or whatever, right? And we also trying to at least set up for if and when the time arrives, a few skid-mounted or containerized desal plants that can be strategically located, seawater reverse osmosis plants that can be used to provide water in an extreme emergency, right? But we're not quite at the level of a disaster. If we don't get rain for another couple of weeks, it is going to become decidedly worse, right? So we're doing with the valve regulations. We have, in fact, up to this morning, several new valve regulation schedules have come out. NAWASA is very, very active on social media. We have these things. Maybe in here this morning is part of our strategy. Being even more proactive in terms of public communication and so forth. We're active with NADMA. We've met with the private sector chamber members and the Grenada Hotel Association. It's all a haze now, either last week or week before last, within the recent past, right? So we are, and we're in touch with our regional counterparts and so on. We are taking steps to install the necessary infrastructure on our port for receiving bulk water. We're looking into the feasibility of importing bulk drinking water from Dominica. We're in touch with the manager of the Wasco. We know what it costs. We know that they don't provide the shipping through Kawasa. We're trying to position ourselves
in the event.
So in the event of a significant deterioration, we'll not be, as I say, we'll not be running around like chickens without a head. We'll be very, very focused, very calm, and we will be implementing reasonable steps to respond to the whatever emergency or, God forbid, it comes to a disaster situation. And that is all that you can ask of us at NAWASA.
Mr. Smith, thank you very much for taking that time off to be with us this morning. Also to you, Miss St. Clair and
St. Louis.
Miss St. Louis. Yeah, St. Louis. What's wrong with their names this morning? Yeah, okay.
Coffee.
Of course, we here at the GBN, we are going to partner with the relevant authorities and do the part that we can, which is disseminate the information and
water conservation, the water conservation message. If each home can cut back by 10 or 15 or maybe 20% of the normal average daily consumption, it means the limited supplies would be able to share further on, and we're trying to equitably share the limited supplies. We call in on the hotels to ramp up, those of you with desal plants, to ramp up your desal plant production. Put discreet notices in your hotel rooms asking customers to, not wash their towels or whatever every day, and just generally conserve. At the household level, you don't need to wash your car now.
Yeah.
You could maybe wait another couple of weeks, when the situation normalizes again. So we're calling on the individual household to conserve, and finally to pay attention in this scenario where we're collecting water and storing water and getting water by truck or from a neighbor, whatever as the case may be, to pay attention to the public health aspects. Store water in clean, covered containers. If in doubt about the quality of the water, boil it, bring it to a rolling boil for 1 minute, at least 1 minute, 1 to 3 minutes, and so on. Put it to cool, and if it has any little sediments and so, they would settle out. And then you can use the water the following morning, and so on. So this is a message that we're trying to convey out there, and also to assure the public that we are doing our best to harness. We've increased our crews so that we could respond. We know we don't always respond as we should to leaks and so on. So we've enhanced the resources we have for responding to leaks, so that we're not wasting ourselves the limited water supplies that we have.
Okay. Mr. Smith, thank you. Miss St. Louis, thank you all for sharing that much needed information, and I do hope that our audiences, whether they're online or via our television or radio platforms, have really grasped into it and get to realize that it's not only about Nawasa, but it's also about us. We all are part of the management of water resources that we have to use. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much.
Folks, we'll be back. Don't you go anywhere.